Be sure to check out my Facebook, Instagram, and Patreon. Hello everyone, and welcome to another Red Raptor Writes. Spider-Man is awesome. No, not Spider-Man the character, but Spider-Man the movie. 17 years later, and it's still one of the best comic book films. Heck, Sam Raimi's entire Holy Trilogy is awesome. Yes, even 3 with all its flaws has more passion, meaning, and effort than most others in the genre. Every moment, every line of dialogue is heartfelt. For 3 films about a kid in spandex swinging on spiderwebs across Manhattan, it all feels so down to earth, real. How is this possible? Simple. The characters. Every character gets more detailed than all the main characters of other movies put together. Yeah, maybe you've already binged video after video glorifying the Raimi movies and Tobey Maguire, and that's all good, but I'm not here to discuss him. No. Him. Screenwriters David Koepp and Alvin Sargent, along with director Sam Raimi, didn't just stop at developing the leads. Nah, they fleshed out everybody. Even people whose names you may not remember once the lights come back on are still crafted with careful consideration, so that Peter's world feels inhabited by real human beings with their own personalities, beliefs, and emotions, as opposed to bland stand-ins who take up camera space. This is one of the many reasons why Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy is so holy. Let's dig this up.
I've been reading poetry lately.
Where'd you get it?
The library.
Looks uncomfortable.
Upon a prairie, pretty screen all her garments, and her hair was like the sunshine. Day by day, he gazed upon her. Day by day, he sighed with passion.
There are plenty of examples for me to whip out. Just to kick things off though, let me start with an easy one. Aunt May. After the first Spider-Man, you'd expect Peter's surrogate grandma to be a wise old sage for him to learn from. Yes, May's a sweet, thoughtful, religious old lady, but she's smart enough to know that there's no greater guarantee for death than being the lead's mentor. And at her age, yeah, she needs to avoid that like a Mark Webb film. In Spider-Man 2, Aunt May doesn't behave as the archetypal wise master as you'd expect. No, the writers are better than that. Raimi's a better filmmaker than that. They portray people as actual people. The first thing the old coot does is yell at him on his birthday, out of frustration and loneliness and confusion. It's been nearly 2 years since her husband's murder, and she still struggles to internalize it, telling Peter how she wonders what she'd do if she faced the one responsible. She tells Peter, the kid whose selfish, irresponsible actions got Uncle Ben no-scoped. But for all this time, she's been blaming herself for pushing Ben to take him to the library. This moment chills me to my innermost being, but this isn't May's only outburst. Both characters feel responsible for what happened, so later into Peter's arc, he chooses to finally relieve his aunt of that weight and put it on his own shoulders. After 2 painful years, our protagonist finally explains what really happened the night of Uncle Ben's death, how he was the man responsible. Then, like the kind old wizard she is, May forgives Peter on the spot, and they give each other a long embrace.
Like that's ever gonna happen. Oh, look.
Nah, May is at a loss for words, shocked, angry, confused. Without a word, she pulls away from her surrogate son and walks out of frame. I don't know about you, but I'd be speechless too. The writer understands this, and has May act how a person normally would, not how we expect her to. Yes, later on she gives an apology, followed by
one of the greatest speeches in movie history.
But like you and me, she doesn't have all the answers and responses planned. She doesn't know the words to say on the spot. May makes mistakes too, despite being Peter's voice of reason throughout the Holy Trilogy. And quickly, a final thought on her. Rosemary Harris is absolutely fantastic in this role. Like, seriously, it is without question that she is the definitive live-action Aunt May. Sorry, Sally Fields, and psh, did they even try?
Leave me alone.
Peter?
See you, chump.
Don't leave me.
I'm gonna be getting a little more and more obscure with each example. So, Exhibit B, J. Jonah Jameson. Now, J.K. Simmons is perfect in this role as well. He's certainly one of my favorite actors to watch on screen. There's not a dull moment in the Daily Bugle Funhouse. I love how well he bounces off of Ted Raimi as Hoffman, a goofy, bumbling employee. Jameson constantly verbally abuses this poor man, and it's hilarious.
What are we gonna call this guy?
Dr. Octopus.
That's crap. Wait, I got it. Dr. Octopus.
But I like it.
Of course you do. Dr. Octopus. New villain in town. Doc Ock.
Genius.
What, are you looking for a raise? Get out.
Really, he treats everyone this way. Well, except for Robbie, seemingly the only person he actually respects. Do you remember Jameson's first scene with Peter? This young guy, fresh out of high school, comes to his desk with Spidey photos, and Jameson calls them all crap right to his face. And of course, who can forget this gem that I can't seem to stop putting in my videos?
But could you pay me in advance?
You serious?
J. Jonah Jameson is loud, ill-tempered, and a total savage. But then, what about this?
Jameson, you slime! Who's the photographer who takes the pictures of Spider-Man?
I don't know who he is. His stuff comes in the mail.
You're lying!
I swear.
Wow, this cold-hearted man who has shown no love to anybody is suddenly willing to risk having his blood splattered all over the Flatiron Building just to protect some random teenager. After all the bashing and berating he does, you'd expect Jameson to look after himself, quickly turning on his staff, but no, he's willing to give his life for them. Then after 2 full entries into the series of non-stop Spider-Man fake news, J. Jonah Jameson finally reveals a hint of appreciation when it seems like all hope is lost, only to snap back into his classic self. I mean, at this point, what more can I say that hasn't already been said? Far from home with spoiler alert, but there's a reason he's been recasted after all these years.
Just a little something the boys in the ad department and I whipped up.
That is the dumbest idea you've ever had, and you have had some doozies.
Blood pressure.
Finally, I'm bestowed the honor to discuss perhaps the greatest character in all of film, freaking Mr. Ditkovitch.
Well,
Rent?
Peter Parker's landlord, Mr. Ditkovitch, named after Spider-Man illustrator Steve Ditko, appears in Spider-Man's 2 and 3 as this hilarious Eastern European goofball who is in constant pursuit of his overdue rent money, leading to many iconic scenes. Even with his less than 5 minutes of screen time, Ditkovitch still lands a special place in our hearts. But as you're well aware by this point, Raimi, Kep, and Sargent don't stop there. In Spider-Man 2, after a very comedic introduction, daughter Ditkovitch, Ursula, does something so foreign to Peter. She treats him with kindness. After being beaten, slapped, scolded, crushed, fired, and unfired, Ursula actually does something nice for Peter. She gives him a slice of cake. One of my favorite YouTubers, High Top Films, crafted a wonderful video essay about this scene, so if you want to hear someone go further in depth with writing skills I can only dream of, be sure to check it out. Aside from the cake, Mr. Ditkovitch himself gets to show a lot of humanity in Spider-Man 3. Check this out.
Leave me alone.
Give me rent.
You'll get your rent when you fix this damn door!
Now does he A. cry, B. yell back, or C. excuse him?
That wasn't cool.
He is a good boy. He must be in some kind of trouble.
Yup, the answer is C. My gosh, for the past 2 movies, he's been hounding Peter about paying the rent, but after Peter flips him off, Mr. Ditkovitch gives him the benefit of the doubt, knowing that Peter's usually a nice kid at heart who wouldn't act out unless something was horribly wrong. It takes a high level of maturity to walk away from that. Man, it doesn't even end there. The next time he sees Parker, Ditkovitch quickly brushes it off as if nothing happened. Not only that, but then he immediately proceeds to give some good old European relationship advice.
I was trying to figure out what to say.
If it's a woman you're calling, then you say, "You're a good woman, I'm good man."
The level of compassion and concern this comedic side character has is amazing. Once again, fleshing out another side character who was already perfectly serviceable. The writers went so far beyond the call of duty.
Did Edison sleep before he turned on the light? Did Marconi sleep before he turned on the radio? Did Beethoven sleep before he wrote the Fifth?
Mr. Ditkovitch, fix this damn door!
Oh, Rosie, I love this boy.
There's a point to all these writing decisions though. Of course, all these little details make even the side characters feel more alive, giving more humanity to these very personal stories. But let's take it further, cause that's not a satisfactory enough answer for me. The screenplay writers and director wanted to tell a tale of extraordinary events occurring in the lives of ordinary people. One of the main traits of Spider-Man is that he's just an average guy like you and me. Yes, he's something of a genius, but he's the kind of character your everyday reader can relate to. Peter Parker was just a dorky, awkward high schooler who was unfortunate enough to be bitten by the missing genetically enhanced super spider. No more important than any other New Yorker, aside from this stroke of bad luck. Because he's no more important than everyone else, the writers chose to give just as much character to the side characters as the main character. This also serves to enhance the setting, establishing New York as a character in and of itself. We get completely human reactions to these impossible events, random citizens are dragged into the action, and Sam Raimi always makes sure to include shots from the perspectives of pedestrians on the street. The lively and totally down-to-earth setting makes scenes like this all the more impactful.
You mess with Spidey, you mess with New York! You mess with one of us, you mess with all of us!
He's mine!
You want to get to him, you got to go through me.
And me.
Me too.
Every time Peter needs to save a citizen, it's so much more intense. And every time a citizen saves Peter, it's so much more heartwarming because we've seen that they're all normal people just like him and just like us. You know, I can keep on with this. I can talk about Rosie, Mr. Aziz, Dr. Strom, Dr. Connors, Robbie, Betty, this random surgeon, and so on, but you get the point. Sam Raimi's secret weapon is humanity. The characters throughout the trilogy, big and small, are drowning in humanity. He managed to make 3 movies that convince us Spider-Man is living in our real world. What better fantasy is there? Remember, if you enjoyed this video, to please leave a like and subscribe, and smack that notification bell. See you next time.